Hello, my name is Taylor Miller. This is my chapter 12 video on Obama. This is a subjective viewpoint analyzing both his strengths and weaknesses, the social welfare, and America as a whole. This also will be covering things beyond the chapter that was stated. So here we go. Obama's presidency came at a rough time, mainly because at the time we were struggling financially. We had the stock market crash of 2008 and 2009, which pretty much started the Great Recession and could have become a Great Depression had it continued. Uh, Obama was elected right around this thing occurred, and so because of this, and because the way his administration dealt with things, a lot of people blamed Obama for, you know, the recession, even though it was caused by many presidents before him, including Reagan, uh, as well as the definite derivative sales in the homeowner market, which caused the housing market to crash. Um, Obama's answer to the 2008 2009 start of the Great Recession to prevent a Great Depression was the stimulus plan. This contained over $700 billion that was used to bail out several government programs, several housing agencies such as Fannie Mae and Fannie Mac. Um, it also included bailing out the automobile industry, which was suffering because of lack of sales and the fact that car sales had dropped a large portion since the start of the century. Um, Many Americans, as well as both sides of the political spectrum, were kind of opposed to this because essentially the people that started the Great Recession in the first place were being bailed out. It helped, definitely speaking, because right now we're looking at a definite recovery. How long that will last, we don't know. But um, it is a definite recovery since when that happened. His attempts to help the housing market were sort of futile, although there have been regulations since then put in place to prevent a crisis from, like the derivative housing market crisis, from happening again, mainly because the homeowners associations and the mortgage lenders would negotiate a mortgage that many homeowners couldn't afford under the guise that they would be able to afford it at some point. And a lot of people fell for this. Obama's main accomplishment in office would probably be his health care reform bill. Mainly speaking, it allowed a lot of people to get health insurance that couldn't otherwise get it due to either pre-existing conditions, unaffordable costs, and also gave business or healthcare providers incentives to make healthcare more affordable. Um, for the large part, it was successful, but it did hurt small businesses that couldn't afford things like this. It also made premiums go up higher, a lot more than they needed to be, um, and drew criticism from the Republican side of the House, and rightfully so, because generally speaking, the health care bill was not perfect. It did need some fine tuning, but it was largely based off of a previous bill that was enacted in Massachusetts, where they made healthcare more affordable. This was just taking that whole bill and putting it on a federal level, with, for the most part, positive to mixed results. Um, but this healthcare bill started a big problem and started to show the weaknesses of the president. The healthcare bill barely passed in the House and the Senate, and it started to bring attention to the fact that Obama could not really work well with uh, the other side of the political spectrum. And because of that, when the Tea Party movement took a large majority seats in the House, What ended up happening was most of any of Obama's proposed plans fell on deaf ears. There were things like the American Jobs Act that was supposed to help stimulate American jobs that didn't pass in the House, even though it did have a majority support from the American public in many polls. Um, there were talks of immigration reform that fell on deaf ears. There were talks of, you know, gun control that would have limited, you know, automatic firearms and made regulations on, getting a firearm a lot more excessive. Uh, Overall, this showed the weaknesses of Obama's administration in both of his terms. And he mainly had to resort to using executive powers to pass most of his regulations. A lot of his regulations on the environment was passed through him and helped the environment, but still the environmental community felt like his promises towards making a greener America were largely unfulfilled. Um, there was also the issue of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, which from pressure of spending and, from pressure of wanting to get out of it, he decided to withdraw because he felt that the spending towards this war needed to be cut. And finally, in his last year in office, a few years in office, the ruling over gay marriage was largely overturned, making it gay marriage legal across all 50 states. Though that was not necessarily his doing, he will be credited for that in his administration. Um, he made Title IX protections for transgender students and various regulations for the environment that are currently being cut away by the current administration. So Obama will largely be viewed as a mixed presidency. He contributed, sadly enough, he did contribute to the not the formation of ISIS, but the reason ISIS has more control over the Middle East. Because America, from Bush's administration and Obama's administration, had created a power gap. This has now become a very big problem, causing problems in places like Syria, causing problems in other places such as Europe. This is something that is on him. Obama is going to go down as one of the most mixed presidents in history. And sadly, Trump overturning a lot of what his executive powers doesn't make anything better. And from the social work side of things, while things have improved for us and the economy has definitely gotten better, our whole situation as a profession has become largely scary because we don't know what this new administration will be, what it will bring to us. It felt like we were largely, well, not largely ignored. I mean, there were social programs that were funded, but Obama really couldn't go anything past spending. He did create several programs, but that was about it. So, what Trump will bring, we have no clue, but it does not look good for us. But that is a overview of Chapter 12, along with more recent events. Thank you. I'm Taylor Miller. You guys have a nice day.